Hi everybody, I'm Shion, and have you ever wondered what it would be like to date a ghost, urban legend, maybe a dead guy or two? Well, have I got news for you. Otomate has announced a new Otomate game that they are working on called 9 R.I.P. And this is a Japanese, as we know, exclusive game right now, so it's brand new, it's not being translated as far as I know. And the premise of this game is that you date ghosts, urban legends, which is actually super cool. It looks a bit dark, but the art style looks amazing, and the story sounds actually very interesting. I checked and I'm pretty sure there's still only one trailer out, and that was the one that was shown at Otomate Party this year. Let's rewind a bit. Otomate Party is basically kind of like, from what I understand, a small convention where you can like buy merchandise, meet voice actors, and they announce new Otomate news. If I'm wrong, please let me know. This is kind of like just a big event for Otomate game players. One of the key highlights to Otomate Party this year was the announcement of 9 R.I.P. A little something you must know about your girl here is that I love romance and I love horror separately. If you look at my bookshelf, the only books I read are horror and romance, and you can kind of see that in the reflection of my video game choices too. Today we're going to talk about digital ghosts. Hot digital ghosts. Now, Japan has some of the best ghost stories and urban legends that I have heard, and a lot of them are very different from North American horror stories. Japanese horror stories more focus on the psychological thrill of it, which is some of my favorites. Of course, there are more gruesome stories and a lot of stories that just end with you die. This was kind of a fun rabbit hole. It was a great way to practice my Japanese. I learned many new words that I will never use. So yeah, let's just jump into the first character. Please note that none of these characters actually have confirmed urban legends behind them, so I did do some research on my own to kind of pick out ghost stories that I think the character is based on, or yokai that the character is based on. I don't know that much about Japanese urban legends, so if you're a pro and think that some of the characters that I will mention the characters that I speculate most of, and please let me know what you think they are, and maybe I'll do another video if you guys like hearing ghost stories, because I love ghost stories. So the first character I'm going to talk about is Mari-san. Mari-san now could be related to the Bloody Mary story because that's a very popular story, but this being a Japanese game, and I'm pretty sure based off of mostly Japanese urban legends, I think it's going to be based off of the Happy Mary story, or Mary's phone call. So yeah, let's just jump into the story. The story goes like this. Once there was a happy family that was getting ready to move. The daughter of the family had a beautiful doll named Mary. During the move, Mary was mistakenly thrown away. Understandably, the daughter was quite sad about this. The father reassured her that he would buy her a new and even more beautiful doll. After a few months, when the daughter was used to her new life, on one particular normal night, when she was staying home alone due to her parents working late, she got a call. "This is Mary. You threw me in the trash." The phone then hung up. The daughter thought it was nothing more than a prank. A bit later, the phone rang again. The daughter tried to convince herself that it was her mother, but when she picked it up, "It's Mary. I'm at the station." The phone hung up again. The daughter was scared, but tried to brush it off. A little later, the phone rang again. She was hoping it would be her mother or father, but the thought of Mary was edged into the back of her mind. So once again, she picked up the phone. "It's Mary. I'm at the park." The daughter quickly hung up the phone herself. The park was so close to her house. Panicking, she picked up the phone and called her father, but just as she picked it up, the phone had rung again, and she mistakenly answered the call. "Hello, A-chan. It's Mary. I'm outside your house now." Shocked to hear the voice say her name, the girl slammed the phone down and yanked the cord out of the wall. She looked out the window and saw nothing. She checked the front and back door, but both were locked. She ran back upstairs and locked herself in her room when the phone that she had unplugged started to ring again. There was no way the phone could be ringing. Thinking she was imagining it, she picked up the phone again. "Who is it?" she whispered. "Why, it's me, Mary. I'm right behind you. It's said that the girl is murdered once she turns around to look who's behind her. There's, I think, a movie based off of this story, but I'm not sure, like a Japanese movie, so if anybody has seen it, please let me know if it's worth watching or very cringy, because I love cringy Japanese TV. Pretty much all Japanese TV. The next character that we have in our roster is Kokkuri San. Kokkuri San is a very popular game thing. It's basically the equivalent to Ouija boarding. I could be mistaken, but I feel like this is the most well-known one on this list. So yeah, let me just explain how Kokkuri San works. So like I said before, this game is based off of Ouija boarding. You use a 10 yen coin, and then you have a piece of paper, and written on the piece of paper is yes and no, and in between yes and no is a little torii arch written in red. All the hiragana alphabet written in black under it, along with the numbers from 0 to 9. You and whoever you are playing with start putting your index fingers on the coin like a little planchette. Then you say, once your fingers are on the coin, Kokkuri-san, Kokkuri-san. If you're here, please say yes. And if the coin moves to left, you can start asking questions. Every time you ask the ghost, you have to say, Kokkuri-san, please return to the gate. Once you're done playing, you have to say, Kokkuri-san, please return now. Once the coin moves to yes, the game is over. So yeah, it's like a little spirit board thing. This really reminds me of Ghost Hunt, because Ghost Hunt had a whole arc based off of Ouija boarding, except it was with a Kodoku curse, so like bugs and stuff. The next one I'm going to talk about is Zashiki Warashi. This is a ghost, a yokai. These ghosts are like the equivalent to house trolls, or if you're Canadian, house hippos. According to Google, they are popular in Iwata Prefecture. It is said that if a Zashiki Warashi lives in your house, then your house is blessed or has very good luck. If you catch a glimpse of one of these little ghosts, you are said to have great fortune. Usually the ghosts are represented as children that I think are like around the age of 5. Usually they wear traditional clothes, so like I think the girl is usually depicted as wearing a kimono or yukata, and then the boy is, I think he's supposed to be wearing like a little school uniform, but I'm not sure. Basically, they're little troublemakers that cause pranks and knock over shit in your house, kind of like a little poltergeist. The character is like really pretty looking. Like, I can't get over the art in this game. I think it's gonna be so cool. So this ghost or spirit or urban legend is called KaraKara San. From what I understand, nobody knows really what this character is based off of. So I'm going off of what a Twitter poster kind of said about this. The yokai that I'm gonna tell this story for, I don't think is the one based off of it. It's just the one that I think it maybe helped inspire it, because this character, if you read the Japanese for what it says KaraKara San, homicidal maniac, or homicidal maniac KaraKara San. If you watch Yokai Watch, there's also a yokai named KaraKara San, and it's like a skeleton. And after some research that I personally think he is based off of, and excuse my pronunciation because I read Japanese, I don't speak Japanese, it's called Gashadokuro.
Gashadokuro.
And I think this because not only the yokai from Yokai Watch, but the sound karakara is the onomatopoeia for like bones rattling. This yokai of a story of a giant skeleton. So there are a few versions of this story, so I'm just going to go off of what I commonly saw while reading about this yokai on Google, because this is an older story. I was reading this in English because old Japanese, not my thing. Is a huge skeleton made from the bones of mainly soldiers who were sent to war or people who have died from famine. Bones from mass graves or rotting bodies left on the battlefield that were never properly put to rest. Those bones that have the feeling and soul of hatred and pain gathered together to create Gashadokuro. It is said that because this yokai is so big, it primarily wanders the countryside. If this yokai sees a person, they will sneak behind it, grab them, and bite their head off. I don't think this is based off of that just because his character's description is literally homicidal mania, but I thought it was a cool little story. So yeah, I don't know what this one's based off of. If you guys have any suggestions, I literally looked up so many ghost stories. Things I have seen for this video is traumatizing. I feel like it's going to be based off of some like urban legend of a killer. The next is The Man in the Mirror, and I saw this post on Twitter where somebody was thinking it was based off of the Purple Mirror story, but judging from the character's design with like, shall we say, necklace, I thought it was based off of Hanako-chan. Like, it gave me Hanako-chan vibes, which is like the girl in the toilet vibes, but the boy's thing literally says The Man in the Mirror. And then I was like going around looking in Google because I felt like there was another Man in the Mirror story about like at a school bathroom, but maybe I was making that shit up. So I'm going to tell you guys the Purple Man story that this Twitter user thought that it was based on. By the way, I'm going to link like everything down below if you want to read these stories for yourself in English. I would also like to say that this story is a bit triggering, so if you have body dysmorphia or are going through an ED, please skip this story. The Purple Mirror story is about a beautiful girl who was gifted a mirror from her mother. The girl was obsessed with the mirror, or should I say, her reflection. But despite being so beautiful, the girl began to eat less and less, and eventually developed an eating disorder. She would go for as long as she could without eating. Every time her stomach would hurt, she thought, I'll be more beautiful if I could just hold out a little longer, just so she could look at her reflection in the mirror and feel happy about herself. Eventually, her obsession consumed her, and she was sickly thin and weak. She looked like a skeleton, but in the mirror, she looked gorgeous. On her 20th birthday, as she was crossing the road, she was hit by a car and swiftly died. Her final words were, "The purple mirror, the purple mirror." Before the funeral, the girl's parents searched her room for a purple mirror. They couldn't find it anywhere. Rumors about this girl's death spread across Japan, and after the funeral, many girls died under strange circumstances, all on their 20th birthday. But not only that, each of them had purple mirror fragments in their rooms. It is said that if you have the phrase purple mirror stuck in your head on your 20th birthday, then you too will suffer an unexpected death. So, yeah, I may have cursed you guys. If you're under 20, make sure you forget the phrase. So yeah, I think a lot of people thought that this was the story because the character's color scheme is purple, but I don't know, I feel like it's based off of another story. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. The last story which I'm gonna tell, and yes, I know that there are 2 more characters, but I will talk about them in a second after this story. But the last ghost story I'm going to tell is The Man Who Looked at the Stars. Now, I saw a lot of people talking about a woman that was looking at the stars, and I couldn't find that story anywhere. I've never heard it. I was looking in Japanese, I was looking in English, but I couldn't find it. Instead, I found a English story that is Japanese. It's based off of a Japanese horror story, but it is all written in English, but I couldn't find a Japanese version of it, which was really weird. And yeah, so we're gonna read this. I don't know if this is actually the ghost story that this is based off of, and I'm just gonna read it off of the page that I found it on, which will be linked down below. Actually, probably my favorite ghost story on the list. So yeah, let's just jump into it. A man was on his way home from work when he looked up at the clear starry sky above him. How many years has it been since I saw the starry sky? He wondered. Having been so busy recently, he looked up at the sky and calmed himself. After that, the man made sure to look up at the night sky at least once each day from his balcony. One day, he noticed a woman across from his apartment doing the same. He found himself inexplicably drawn to this woman. They were looking up at the same sky together. I wonder who she is. Does she know that I'm also looking up at the stars? He thought. Unable to stand it any longer, he decided to go pay her a visit. His heart full of hope, he made his way over towards her apartment. He rang the buzzer, but there was no response. He waited a long time, and nobody answered. Growing impatient, he reached out to the doorknob and opened it. He nervously entered the room. It was dark. Moonlight filtered in through the open curtains and shone over the lady. When he saw her, the man froze. The woman was dead, hanging from the window. What had appeared to be the woman looking up at the sky was actually a woman hanging from a rope. It's so fucked up, but it's It's one of my favorites. As for the last two stories, I have literally no idea what they are based on. It's Hell's Watchman and The Devil Who Wants Souls. And I feel like both of these are like ghost stories that I'd be able to find, but I really just couldn't find anything, or just stories in general. Like I said, I think these are based off of Bible references. No idea. So if you guys have any stories that relate to Hell's Watchman or The Devil That Wants Souls, then please let me know down below. These could be like just ghost stories that the game made up too, but they sound so specific that I could not come up with something for them. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I also have social medias. If you would like to see some cosplay stuff, I do cosplay on my Instagram. If you want to see how it's made, I have all that on my TikTok, and I also sometimes stream on Twitch. If you guys have any ghost stories in general that you would like to share, please post those down in the comments below. Please have a great rest of your day, guys. Stay safe, stay happy, and have a great October. Bye.